Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Good morning. This is J.R. Moore coming to you live from deep in the mountains of the Missouri Ozarks on Thursday, the 9th day of August, the year of our Lord 2012. Welcome to the John Moore Show. Well, it's 67 degrees on our way to a high of about 95 today. They've been underestimating these temperatures, typically 3 to 5 degrees pretty much every day, underestimating how quick it gets to 90 degrees. Most mornings, most days, they'll say it'll be 90 degrees at noon. They give an hourly report on their prognostication, their weather forecast, and typically it's 90 degrees by 10 or 10:30. So another hot day here deep in the mountains of the Missouri Ozarks. We should have Tim Spencer calling in. At the bottom of the hour, we'll be joined by Tom Berryhill and Mr. John Reagan talking about the benefits of owning and using an energy cleaner. I don't know if you heard the show before me, but the discussion about that film about 9/11 I found to be fascinating. I'm going to attempt to contact the producer myself and see if we can do an interview on my show. It's the level of deception and lies, and that went to the very highest levels. You can be sure of that. You can absolutely be sure of that. We do have some Earth Change headlines at sandeo.com, and let's just jump right in here. Going over to the Philippines. Beautiful country, beautiful people. It's like Waterworld. Monsoon rains. Swamp Manila forced 270,000 people to flee. Going south to Mexico. I don't know if it's a hurricane or a tropical storm. Ernesto races across Mexico's Yucatan Peninsula. And then we come back to the United States. Fall, snow for the Rockies. Warmth grips northeast. Here's our break. Stay tuned. We'll be right back. We're back, ladies and gentlemen. We're back. This is J.R. Moore. It is Thursday, the 9th day of August. Going back to Earth Change headlines at standeo.com. Going south to the southern part of Africa. Rare snowfall stuns Johannesburg, South Africa. Going over to New Zealand. Three new lakes formed by Mount Tongariro eruption. Going over to California. 4.4 earthquake jolts Orange County, California. South to Costa Rica. 5.4 earthquake shakes up Costa Rica. Next headline, warned again. Big one is closer than first thought. And then we have an article by Professor Ian Stewart. Earthquake near major city with death toll unprecedented in human history, a matter of time, according to Professor Stewart. Next we go to the northeast part of the United States. Northeast sees warmest year on record so far. Then we've got the hunger wars in our future. Next, worldwide droughts severely affecting grain crops. That's what I keep saying. Then we have drought. Farmers dig deeper. Water tables drop. Competition heats up. Going over to England. Britain faces food price hikes as fears grow that drought hit Russia. May impose food export ban on grain. Well, they did that a couple of years ago. They'd already signed a grain futures contracts for delivery, and then they reneged on those contracts. That's what happened 2 years ago in the fall of 2010. Well, I will have a speaking engagement coming up. It will be 2 weeks from tomorrow. That will be Friday, the 24th of August. It will be in Springfield, Missouri, at Ziggy's Restaurant. There's 3 of Ziggy's restaurants in Springfield, Missouri. This will be the one at the corner of Sunshine and Glenstone, right next to the Lamplighter Hotel, at 5:30 p.m. So that's Friday the 24th, 5:30 p.m., Ziggy's Restaurant at the corner of Sunshine and Glenstone in Springfield, Missouri. I'll be talking about the electromagnetic pulse, the effects of an electromagnetic pulse attack on this country, or the effects of a X-class flare, similar to a Carrington event on this country, basically the same consequences, whether it's a man-made event or a natural event. So that'll be coming up 2 weeks from tomorrow. We do have some lines open if you want to call in. My friend Spencer was up all night on a security detail at the Dane County fall festival. I don't know why they have a fall festival the second week of August, but that's what they do. So we're going to probably let Tim take a break this morning. Anyway, the call-in number is 877-488-5350. I say again, 877-488-5350. I was contacted by a television network from a foreign country yesterday. They want to come to my hometown, Davisville, Missouri, and interview me Saturday. And if that happens, it'll be fun. We'll have the interview take place at the Davisville General Store to help promote that struggling little business, as all businesses are struggling. And it'll be fun to do a little airtime with a foreign television network. My friend Professor McCanny and I will be both interviewed by this entity. So after it's over, I'll give you more details. Right now, it's in the planning stage. They're in a hurry to get this done and get the video back to their home country for editing and broadcasting. And I was talking to this young woman, this producer, and I complimented her by the way, that her English was better than many of my neighbors. She wanted to know about specific dates, and I said, well, I'm not giving out any specific dates, and I mentioned that I have not asked my daughter to fly down here from Seattle. This August 17th date does come from one source, however, it is not backed up by or corroborated by another source, so I'm not going to do anything out of the ordinary about this August 17th date other than treat it as a training exercise, and that's what I keep emphasizing, to treat this date as a training exercise to revisit. For those of you who've been in prepping for a number of years, we tend to get lax, many of us, I know I do. We tend to procrastinate, I know I do. It's time to revisit your preparations, inventory what you have, see what your shortfalls are, where you have some things that need to be filled in, whether it's food or water filters or communications equipment, optics, boots, leather gloves, whatever it might be, storing up fuel, extra chains for your chainsaw. Revisit those things and fill in those blank spots. We have a caller here, Dave in Ohio. Good morning, Dave.
Hey, good morning, John. How are you today?
Oh, good.
Good. Hey, I called you a couple days ago. I just kind of wanted to do a quick recap. We were talking about the troop movements in the United States, and I made the comment. I said, well, it possibly could be the, summer training.
Right.
But after we hung up, I actually thought of something. I'm a former Marine. I used to live I worked in Washington, D.C. Many years ago, and I went back there about a month and a half ago. We went back to Southeast D.C., and it was pretty much a rundown area, but I thought it was pretty interesting that they actually had Marines patrolling Southeast D.C.
Really? On the street?
Yeah. What happened? Yeah, exactly. Well, what happened was when we pulled up there, I noticed, I thought there was just something special going on, but they had 2-man teams carrying shotguns, and they were patrolling in unison the blocks, and I thought that was pretty interesting.
Were they, now, the Marines have MPs, I assume, or do they use the Navy for that purpose? Shore patrol?
No, basically, no, there was no shore patrol. Like I said, I was actually stationed there at Marine Barracks 8th and I in Washington, and you had different units, but I actually talked to a couple of the guys, and they were with the regular security forces.
What uniform were they wearing?
They were wearing camo.
And what kind of headgear?
They were just wearing soft cover.
Soft cover, okay. No body armor?
Yeah, they did have body armor on.
When you talked to them, did they find out what their mission statement was?
I did. You know what? I didn't ask them the mission statement. I mean, and I don't want to go back and contradict.
What were the rules of engagement?
I did not ask them the rules of engagement.
Were the weapons loaded, or did they just have ammunition in their pouches?
I believe that their weapons were loaded. But you have one guy carrying a shotgun, the other guy had a sidearm.
Okay.
But I mean, like
in the Marine barracks in Beirut, they weren't allowed to have their weapons loaded.
Well, these right here, well, there was a couple things to this, though, and I don't know the answer to it. But when I was there back in 86 through 1988, I mean, Southeast D.C. was the murder capital of the country.
Right.
And it was a bad neighborhood. But the one thing I did notice is that that whole area, I mean, it was lined with, like the storefronts and the little cafes now. I mean, there was a lot of vibrant activity. And I would imagine that has to do with the increased security. But I don't know how long that they've been doing it. But, I mean, you could have just knocked me. I couldn't believe it. I thought, holy crap, they're out there patrolling with loaded weapons.
And they were these two-man teams. They were or were not accompanied by a D.C. police officer.
Oh, no, there was no police around.
You don't know if they were linked into the 911 call system of D.C. either?
That I do not know. I mean,
okay.
These were young guys. They seemed to be. I mean, they didn't want to be very forthcoming. Very nice guys, very professional. But I mean, I was very surprised by that. But I mean, that's something that I've seen. And like I said, I'm going back and contradicting kind of what I was saying to you the other day. But after we hung up, I thought, I just seen that a month ago.
Right.
And I don't know if that's training.
Well, this is not. What you're talking about here, Dave, is not widely known. It's certainly news to me.
Okay, well, and like I said, I seen that firsthand, and I was stationed there at Marine Barracks in Washington, D.C., and there was nothing ever like that when we were there. And I thought that, and that could have just been a thing that I was very surprised in general going back to Washington, because when I was driving in, we were going through, and I mean how when you're going down 95 there, the infrastructure was incredible, because everything there was new, all the highways, the bridges, the overpasses. If the one that you just drove under was just not completed, it was under construction. I mean, it's like they redid the whole city.
Really?
And I mean, and that could be nothing. That could just be simple. They wanted to clean up the area, because, like I said, in 86 through 88, Southeast D.C. was considered the murder capital of the United States.
Right.
But
right.
But there was no D.C. police. But that is something that I definitely seen firsthand.
Okay. Well, we appreciate the report, Dave. Anything else?
Well, I just wanted to follow up one thing. Hey, Stan Deyo, I've been a big follower of him for years, and Dare to Prepare is a phenomenal book, and so I recommend that.
It is. Yeah, I recommend it as well. Thank you. Appreciate the call, Dave.
All right, John.
Okay, the call number is 877-488-5350. If you see something that needs to be reported, you're certainly welcome to call in. Anything involving the U.S. military, foreign military. We got a report the other day from a private source about Russian soldiers being in the Walmart in Killeen, Texas. That's right outside the gates of Fort Hood, Texas, of course, a classic Army town. Russian soldiers in Russian uniforms, Russian military uniforms, shopping at the Walmart at Killeen, Texas. So if you have, we're interested in these kinds of reports of foreign troops in the United States, reports of evacuation of any of these low-lying areas that the military occupies, Camp Pendleton, California, Camp Lejeune, North Carolina, Norfolk Naval Base, Norfolk, Virginia, Fort Bragg, North Carolina. There's probably other places as well. That's just what we have evidence of and reports of. The U.S. Navy has facilities all around the Atlantic and the Gulf Coast and the Pacific Coast. Here's our break. Call-in number is 877-488-5350. Ladies and gentlemen, we're back. This is J.R. Moore. It is Thursday, the 9th day of August. Dave made a good point, and I frequently repeat this, that June, July, and August is when the Army Reserve, the National Guard, the Marine Reserve, Naval Reserve, Air Force Reserve, and so forth, that's when they do their summer training, 2 weeks, summer camp as it's called, which means a lot of men and women moving back and forth in military vehicles on public roads. And that's nothing to be alarmed or concerned about. That's just what happens every summer. In addition, the Army's always buying new equipment, new trucks, new Caterpillar tractors, new tanks, new armed personnel carriers. Those are shipped typically on flatbed trailers or on trains to their destination where the military is going to use them. That's nothing to be concerned about.